This video is me throwing out a lifesaver, not a candy, a lifesaver to you students. I remember so well, I was 12 years old when I got my first calligraphy book and some calligraphy pens. And I opened the book and I went, wow, I want to be able to write like this. I want to be able to write like this. And then I started writing. And of course, I was 12, so my printing didn't look as good as what was in the book. But I was very quickly introduced to a problem that comes often with calligraphy kits of any kind. Now, I'm going to try to be really careful here not to rag on any particular company or their kit. Frankly, it's been any calligraphy kit that I have ever purchased or played with has had this same problem. And I'm putting together this particular video because like I said, I want to throw a lifesaver to some of you who are drowning in failure and say, I just can't do it. The reason is because you bought one of those kits. Now, someday we may put together a kit and of course ours will be different. But here it's real easy to show you the problem. In fact, I have here several pages done by a student, not done by me, done by a beginner calligrapher. They were following this book, and here are their pages of practice. Now, they have all the normal struggles that all of us have when we first start calligraphy, you know, irregularity of stroke and so on and so forth. But the fact is, let me pick up one of the tools. With the tool that came in their kit, they were never going to be able to do letters like are shown in the book, okay? The reason is, let me just go ahead and use this pen right here. And if you can zoom in real tight, let me find a fairly empty space. Here we go. The reason is, this is, again, very typical. It's a fine fountain pen, but I don't know what number it is. If it was a speedball, it'd be about a number 6, very, very narrow. And this is the paper that came in the kit. Now watch this. Can you zoom in tight? There's my wide stroke. There's my narrow stroke. There's my wide stroke. There's my narrow stroke. Again, wide. That's as wide as I can go. That's as narrow as I can go. Now, what's wrong with that? Before I even answer that with words, let me pick up a real pen. Let me open my ink. Pick up a real pen. This happens to be a Browse nib. Let me see if it's behaving. Not too much ink. Here's my wide stroke. Here's my narrow stroke. That's actually got too much ink on it. Let me do a few more. Wide, narrow. There we go. Wide, narrow, wide, narrow. Part of me wants to just say, enough said. You got it, don't you? And again, this is not just picking on any publishing company. Everyone I've ever seen, the probably professional, maybe like me, not a master calligrapher, but a decent calligrapher, did these letters. And you know what they did them with? They did them with a real calligraphy pen, but a real that makes marks like this. But you know what they give you in the kit to make them with? They give you, okay, this is a real calligraphy pen, but it's this other, you got it, don't you? You cannot get fat and narrow. I mean, if you go maybe really fast, but only advanced people can go fast. So that's what's wrong with these kits. You probably didn't get a good pen. The other thing that is wrong, and we saw some of this even when I was using a good nib, let me unload that a little bit, is that this paper, because of the paper, it feels like a nice paper and it's kind of smooth, but it's if we had a magnifying glass, we could look and see that it's got little hairs going off the line, as opposed to, and again, this is not an excellent or an expensive kind of paper, but it's what I've done most of my examples on. It's a graph paper. Let me get more ink on that. So this paper bleeds almost none. I've got a little bit too much ink. Let me get down to the point where it's really, really acting like a calligraphy pen. It's acting like a calligraphy pen and failing and refusing to write for me. Hang on, let me get that fixed. This is real calligraphy we're doing here, not fake. We will not cut this part out because I want you to see me struggling just the way you struggle. And again, I don't know how well you can see that, but the thin lines in particular on that paper are better than the thin lines on that paper. So I think that's all I need to say about that. If you are one of those people that has bought a kit and it's driving you crazy and you're doing your best and you're getting better at making the letters, but they still don't look like the ones in the book, that's probably what is happening to you. Now, I took the kit and the pen, the paper and the pen that came with the kit, and I wrote out these words. Now let's see if I can do any better. This is me writing this, and that's about as good as I can do. And it's just so-so because the differential between the fat stroke and the narrow stroke isn't quite great enough. Enough said. Don't despair. Go out, get yourself a good nib, get yourself some good paper, and have fun making calligraphy. I hope this helps.